Hey guys, what it is? I'm gonna go ahead and do my intro because I plan to put this on all my channels. So that's including my prison wife channel. So let me do my intro and then I'll get started. What it is, you guys, it is yo girl Cadillac. Yes, I'm Cadillac Dixon. I'm the Draw My Life prison wife. I'm legally blind artist that is rapping and painting for justice. Hoping, because you got to hold your breath for justice, to see justice before all fades to black. Yes, it's your girl Cadillac. Anyways, guys, I am coming through. It was September the 12th, but now it's September the 13th, girl, because I just got off of work. Thank God. But I did get off before midnight, but I had to sit down somewhere because y'all know how I get when I get to watching my content creators that I love. I go them fingers, though these fingers ain't got no feeling in them. These little carpal tunnel arthritis filled fingers have no filling in them at the tips, girl. Can't feel the tip of my thumb, my middle finger, all these fingers right here going to bed. But guess what? I had to leave a whole bunch of messages, like for real. When I am into a content creator's video, I leave so many comments. Y'all know how I am. If any of y'all had me on your channel, girl, before. Y'all know your girl always leaving the comments and stuff. But it does help you out. I love supporting content creators because I know how it feels to be a content creator wishing for the support. Wishing there was a Cadillac Dixon watching my channel, leaving all them comments, girl. But that's okay. But y'all know lately I have been led to tell my testimony and closing, sweeping. Y'all know I work injured. I am a disabled worker. Very hard to work, barely to survive. Y'all know we work to live and we live to work. Hustle hard until it hurts. It really do hurt. Work my fingers down to the bone. And once I pay my bills, ain't got nothing to come home with. Hey, once I pay my bills, ain't got nothing to come home with. Once I pay my bills, ain't got nothing to come home with. Yeah, she girl Cadillac. But girl, yes. It's very difficult to work. That's why I've been trying to pursue content creation. I think it won't hurt me as much as, what I do. I tried to pursue my art career and all of that stuff, but, nothing's like jumping off. So I have to work if I want to live because there's a price of living. Like, why is there a cost of living? This is stuff God gave us free and somebody decided we had to pay for it? Like, girl, why everything God gave us free we now paying for? And paying with our lives, paying with our time, paying with our health, paying with our youth. It's a big cost of living. But anyway, I work. I digress. I work. I have to work. Or I don't eat that much. Or I don't have no roofs over my head. I ain't got no gas to put in my cars or nothing. Can't take my little granddaughter out. I already can't take her out as much as I want to. Like, I can't spoil her like I want to. Like, grandmama's pre-inflation could really spoil their grandchildren's. But I gotta spoil them on a budget. Like, for real. But sorry, Cadillac, get off track. But let me get back. Oh, that rhyming. I wasn't even trying, girl. But anyways, said all that to say, I was closing. Girl, this is a little testimony in itself. Y'all know I have been dealing with pulling my shoulder all the way through my arm. I had pain from my back, shoulder, all the way through my arm to my forearm. Oh my goodness, it was hurting so bad. Glory be to God. He has started to alleviate that pain because I thought that was some permanent stuff. But what I did notice, the carpal tunnel, the numbness and the tingling, that is persisting right now for some reason. I don't know what it is. That's usually only when I'm doing something that's aggravating my nerves, then it will flare up. But I have a flare up and I don't even know why I have a flare up. So I was just praising God, sweeping the floor, and my carpal tunnel hand was hurting, so I had to shake it out, girl. You gotta shake it out, yes. And then going back to sweeping, and then you shake it out, and then you're going back to sweeping. But anyways, while doing that, once the restaurant closes, girl, I can listen to my YouTube. So I was watching on my lunch. I was watching Miss Wisdom Speaks Truth again. She is who is inspiring me to tell my little dry testimonies, but whatever, they the testimonies in my life. But as I was praising God about my shoulder, the devil tried to do some little thing in my hip. I moved. I'm like, what in the jail is that? What's this? And I promise you, it was like a pulled muscle from nowhere. I didn't make a quick, sudden move that would pull my muscle. It just all of a sudden, my whole hip. I rebuked that right away. And I walked across the floor, like kind of limping almost. And I was like, this need to go back to the pits of jail from which it came. And about 10 minutes later, that hip pain alleviated. So no ma'am, no sir, I am not doing that. So that was an instant healing that God healed my hip today. And my shoulder's getting better. Girl, I just need the little tingling in my fingers to subside so I can finish my art, because I am working on a piece, but my hands are going to bed. Speaking of which, after I finished 1250 podcast, because we working on this ADHD too, so I quickly wants to jump to Wisdom Speaks Truth and start her drawing. But y'all hold me accountable, girl. I got to finish 1250 podcast drawing before I start on hers. Like, this is how I end up with a sketchbook full of unfinished art. And if I did finish your art, consider yourself special. But anyways, like I said, Cadillac, be off track. My GPS, like I said, GPS stands for what? God something. But I know that G in the GPS is God. So God, get me back on track. But I was sweeping and listening to Miss Wisdom Speaks Truth. And today she was talking about the number 12. So I'm up here, I'm like, what is 12? Because one day she was talking about, what is it? 7. And a very specific number to myself has 3 sevens in it. So I always, every time I recite that number, 777, I'm like, I'm reminded, right? But today was 12. So I'm thinking, where do I see 12s in my life? Is there any 12s? Like anything with 12? And I was like, 12? Hold on. It's almost my 12th year anniversary with my employer at the theme park. 12 years ago, your girl started working at the theme park. Y'all know, now this is where the testimony starts. 10 minutes into the video, I'm so sorry. But y'all heard it if you've been on my channel anytime. This is what I talk about. If I ain't talking about my husband being wrongfully incarcerated, please help free. #free Marcello, but girl. Anyways, if I ain't talking about that, I'm talking about y'all know, oh shoot, I talk about a lot of stuff, but y'all know I do talk about the challenges of working while being disabled. I talks about that too. Well, 12 years ago, I had a slip and fall, and compounded. I started out, I believe my career was capped off. My earning potential was capped off when could barely even start my career. It's like the devil attacked me and stopped me before anything. Just like my family was ruined and broken before we can even establish a family, by my husband being snatched out our life when our daughter, we just had a baby, 2 months off of bed rest. My husband's wrongfully arrested, and then 9 months he's just gone. And I'm a single mother overnight by force, not choice. Girl, I want to hit that. Real quick. Hold on, girl. To all my single mothers out there by force, not choice. Hey, know that you can make it, but the choice is yours if you never give up. Never throw in the towel. Just keep your head up. You make it out somehow. All my single mothers out there by force, not choice. Hey, know that you can make it, but the choice is yours if you never give up. Never throw in the towel. Keep your head up. You'll make it out somehow. Here's your girl Cadillac. But became a single mother overnight by force, not choice. Girl, I had the fairy tale, but that was quickly, it wasn't no fairy tale. Just like for real. Like, I guess I woke up in the middle and then it was like this alternate ending. But anyhow, fast forward to 2013. Y'all know the end of me working at the Super Center overnight. I went into the deepest, darkest depression. We had a whole advocating group. Your girl ain't new to advocating, to protest, or none of that stuff. We all used to go to these work protests, and just for better treatment of the workers, because that place does not, they treat their workers like they the crud up under their foot. Like, for real, like less than that. So what can be less than that? Like, whatever that is, that's how they treated us. And I've only heard that it's gotten worse. But glory be to God, that was the darkest time in my life. And the people that advocated in the group called it the blue hole. Not the black hole, the blue hole. And I got a video where I likened going to that super center. It felt like I was in a prison. So the same time my husband went off to prison, it felt like I was in my own prison. So I worked there for 11 years, right? I worked there 11 years. It was the most miserable 11 years of my life, from age 21 to age 32. Darkest. I went through so much depression. The longest bout of I dealt with depression my whole life, like deep, dark depression where no thing matters. I don't even want to get out of bed. I don't want to take no combs to my head. I don't care what's going on. I don't care if I survive past this day. That type of depression. And I prayed and God broke me free of that. And I have never been to that type of depression since 2009. Never again. Glory be to God. But I was going to see one of my favorite rappers. I was a rapper at little super center, handing out my little demos, and I would go to concerts because I love music, but I wanted to make a difference in my music. And I am a hip-hop head, not anymore, but used to be. But I love hip-hop that made differences. Political hip-hop that brought knowledge, hip-hop that could change your life, like for real. And Ice Cube, I was going to see Ice Cube, girl. That was the Just waking up in the morning, gotta thank God. I don't know, but today seemed kinda odd. No barking from the dog, it's no small. My mama cooking breakfast with no hog. I got my grub on, I didn't pig out. Finally caught a call from a guy I wanna dig out. Hooked it up for later as I hit the door, thinking, well, I live another 24. I gotta go, cause I got me a drop top, and if I hit the switch, girl, we gonna stop right there. Anyway. Ice Cube. I wanted to see Ice Cube. I was doing something called Project Reach the World. But the whole slogan, if y'all don't know, is Project Reach the World, so that the world can see how they locking us up and throwing away the key. But I always just shorten it to Project Reach the World, because I later learned that when I tell my intent, that's when people shut me down off rip. But yeah, I wanted to get a Project Reach the World to Ice Cube. And I know it's only certain, and he already talked about what they were doing, prisons and rap music, how they related, girl. So he would have been one of the perfect persons to, oh, I gotta tell that story too. How every time I think I almost met the right person that Project Reach the World is for, something would happen strategically. How Queen Latifah, Ice Cube, Tyler Perry, every single Life Jennings, every single time I gotta tell that story. It felt like something happened and thwarted me from not meeting those people. But I met so many other people and gotten this story to everybody that you can think of, all the relevant people that are in just us, but they didn't just do nothing. But this story has gotten around, really, for real. But that was the plan, to go to the concert. I would do my crazy hairpiece. I would make a painting or a drawing or a hand-painted t-shirt, a poster, whatever, that could get the artist's attention from the stage. I mean, from they're on the stage and I'm out in the crowd. But they couldn't keep their eye on nobody but myself. And then after that, they would either call me up on stage or they would get my artwork, and then that's when they get the story of my husband being wrongfully incarcerated, all that. That was supposed to help break the story, put us back together again. But anyway, so that's what Project Reach the World is, and it is 20 years old this year, y'all. I've been doing this for 20 years, and that is prophetic of how I started Project Reach the World. Or how Project Reach the World started, because I didn't start it. This was God's, he just gave it to me, like, for real. But before going to meet him, I went out to eat. I went to Golden Corrals, all you can eat buffet. I was going up into the little super center, a different super center, not the one I worked at, a whole different city. And it was raining. And I walked in, and my whole family was walking in. 2 of them was on them little buggy carts. And I was walking straight, and it was a line of buggies. And I was trying to tell my cousin, I wanted to say, could you move over, because I can't go nowhere else. There's a line of buggies in front of me. But the line of buggies were dripping wet from rainwater. They were not in the proper place, because they don't go on slick, wet floor. They go in a buggy corral. But yet they did not put them in the buggy corral. They left them on the slick, wet floor. So the minute my foot hit the pavement or the floor, I slipped and fell. I went from standing up to pow, flat on my back. My head bounced. This is what messed up my neck so bad. In the back of my head by the occipital bone. Bounced like that. And I could not move. My hands were stuck in the air like this. I was stuck, both hands up. And I could not talk. I couldn't see nothing. I mean, I could see, but I couldn't move my eyes, so I had to look down. But out the bottom of my eyes, I could see my family just started walking in. They didn't even notice I had slipped and fell, and I couldn't move. I was just stuck. So I'm like, oh, so I'm deleted on my birthday, that's how I'm out of here. Like, for real. Oh. For me, it's always been a mole. So I'm like, for real, that's what I should have figured, something like this. But a couple minutes later, well, it felt like a couple minutes, but it probably was seconds later, I was able to move my hands. And I was able to tell them I'm not all right. Like, I'm hurt bad. And that's when they took me to the hospital. And I seen ice cubes. I just didn't see that ice cube. I seen ice cubes, like a whole bunch of them. They was all over my head. So from that point, this is where I picked up these other injuries. So at 22, I was riddled with carpal tunnel, which made me have to quit the salon I was in. But then by 32, I picked up 3 herniated discs in my neck, 5 pinched nerves in my neck, just about bone on bone, arthritis in my neck. All of this just in my neck. Causes TMJ in my jaw because of where it's pinching. My hands, my lower back disc slipped. That causes sciatica, so it causes a problem with the bottom of, and to be honest, the chiropractor that I was at, he was like, you got the spine of a 70-year-old woman. And I literally was only 30 something. And he is like, it is only God's grace that you're still walking. Like, how are you walking? Like, honestly. And then he explained to me what, Christopher Reed, the original Superman, he had basically what I have now, which they call subluxations. And that is why he ended up paralyzed, right? But glory be to God, I still walk. I still walk. That's a testimony in itself. But I still have these injuries. And then 2 years prior to that, I had just found out I was going blind. So I have a rare eye disease called keratoconus, where this eye is gone to bed. It is gone. Don't see nothing. Watercolors, light, I can see. I rely only on this eye with the contact. Without the contact, it's going to bed too. So all of that mixture of things make it so difficult to work. I got fired. Basically, they made it to where I couldn't stay at that job. They kept writing me up for dumb stuff. I had went from nothing on my record, clean record, to, baby, you got to be out the door. Like, for real. They made it to where I could not work there, but they say I quit. But that's really firing somebody, doing what they did to me. And then that, because they did that, they made it where I could not get unemployment. So I was completely with no income, gone, fired. I have now a 12-year-old daughter. My husband's still in prison. I lost my 401k. I lost my stock. I lost my health insurance. I lost my rate of pay because the next job made half of what I made. I lost everything. I started over again at age 32. I had another little job for like a month. I knew it wasn't going to work because I started feeling electric shocks through my hands. I knew it. There was no way for that to work. But I wouldn't quit because I don't give up. But they ended up firing me because they fired me for some discrimination, though, for real. But, I knew it. I couldn't do that because I didn't have the body power, the ability to do it. So I take a job, but once I get on the job, that's when I realize whether I can do it or not, right? And even my current job, they have to do so many accommodations for me to even be able to work. But glory be to God, he got me in a good spot right now, where I do have challenges, but, that's a whole nother testimony. Keita, stay on track. Can't lie. Okay, so all of that, I was headed to drop my cousin off on at the theme park when I received a call from my job, and they was like, we highly suggest you return your uniform or we'll take it out your last check. I'm like, huh? They had told me to call and wait for my new schedule, and that's the call. I'm thinking they finna give me my new schedule. That was a new schedule, girl. Don't even show up, and make sure you bring in them uniforms or we taking it out your last check that you didn't even know that was your last check, girl. That job actually made more than a super center. So I thought I got fired from the super center for better, but then that didn't work out. So I was dropping my cousin off to the theme park, and he was like, why don't you come in and apply here? And I'm like, I would never. A theme park? Like at my age? Look, I really thought 30-something was really, really old, like when I was 30-something. But now I'm thinking 40-something, I'm 44. That's really, really old. But then you look back, you're like, gosh, I was young back then. Girl, I always felt older. I always been an old soul, so I always felt older. But at 32, started over making half my pay. I made minimum wage. I didn't even know what minimum wage was, and I started making that. I was making almost what I was making back when I first started working. I had qualified for food stamps because I never had qualified before. And then was bashed for getting food stamps. Like literally, like how else me and my child supposed to eat? And then did you realize that I put into that system that whole time? They were taking out my taxes, like for real. So now me and my daughter needs to eat, girl. So it was hard. My mother, she was laughing at me. She was like, I know, you too old to be working at a theme park. Which you the oldest one there, which that's just actually, what do you call that? When you think something that's not really true. It's your perception of it, but it's not the truth. People of all ages work at the theme park. But I too thought I was too old to work at a theme park. I thought it was a kid's job. But this could actually be a career, honestly. I wanted to be in their graphic design department, but that didn't work out. So you could make a career here, or you can just have it as a job. For me, I thought it was one of them high and by jobs. It was my fill in the blanks jobs until I find a job that I really want, because I finally got out of that super center. But I ended up being here 12 years later. My anniversary is, get this date, 11/11/2025 will be my 12-year anniversary here. But yeah, so that's what 12 years reminded me of. And it kind of is a bittersweet, but I'm accepting it because I know, God is providing for me. I liken this to manna almost, because it's enough for the day, right? It's not. I don't know how I'm gonna retire from here. Like, girl, I don't even think about retiring because I know I'm not even set up to retire. I just hope, but also with all my disabilities, I don't know how much work I have left, how many more years of hard labor I have left in my body, like for real. But I don't know. I really just don't know. I really want to be that artist. I really want to be that content creator. I want to be that graphic designer. But when you're a laborer, you really don't have time for those types of things, right? We live our lives in between the margins of work. But 12, that is what 12 in my life stands out. 12 years at the theme park. But I'm going to finish now my ride home listening to Miss Wisdom Speaks Truth. And she's explaining what 12 means. 12, I'm just getting to that part, means that it is basically the cycle is ending. I have always felt like I have been in some type of loop. Like when I was at the super center, I felt like a loop. I used to call it like running on a treadmill, because you're tired but you ain't going nowhere. Joy, where I get Grace from? I'm about to say Grace Myers. Joyce Myers say it's like rocking in a rocking chair. You're moving but you ain't going nowhere. I also liken it to being on one of those merry-go-rounds. You spinning and you spinning and you spinning, but you can't get off. It never ends. It's just it's a cycle, unbroken cycle. But then you break the cycle and then end up in another cycle. So the cycle of the super center ended, and then I ended up in this cycle of the theme park, never breaking the cycle and actually being the artist. Like, if I'm not supposed to be an artist, why did God give me the gift of art? These are things that I ask, because it's really confusing. Like, why would he give me the gift of art but for every gift I have, I do have a disability that hinders it. It doesn't stop it, but it hinders it. But why would he give it to me if it was not meant to be an artist? What does he want me to do with my art? I thought it was for justice, but God is a God of justice. Like, that's his character trait, justice. But maybe it's not that. But anyways, I'm gonna leave it right here, because that is for him to reveal. All right, guys, I will talk to you later. Make sure y'all go on and check her out. She will be the next Project Reach the World after I finish 1250 podcast. All right, it's your girl Cadillac.